very much for that very in-depth introduction. It was like going through my past, my memory, you know, some of those things I'd even forgotten about. Now, you know as much about me as I practically know about myself. I am absolutely delighted that you have been invited up here to address you this morning, and we had a wonderful flight up from Phoenix and got to see from the sky just how much and what's happening up in Prescott and Prescott Valley and Chino Valley. So you guys have been doing some heavy lifting and working hard. You can tell that. It's quite obvious. Having moved here, I can remember the first visit that I made to Prescott years and years ago just for the heck of it. It was, you know, not like it is today, and every time I come, it just seems like it's just getting better and better and better. So I just am very appreciative that you have given me this opportunity. I know that, you know, lots of things are going on down at the state capitol, and I thought maybe I would begin this morning to bring you up on a certain level, at least, of what's going on with the bank book that we're dealing with at the state. And I will tell you that it is not something that is real pleasant. Unfortunately, it has been fundamentally unbalanced now, the state budget for years. It's something that hasn't been addressed. It's certainly now, at this particular time, we are all trying to get our arms around and resolve. And I now feel that we have got to have the courage, be part of the solution in efforts to get our state turned around and prosperous again. And now again, we face even a more significant shortfall in the cash. And I know that if my mother was here today, and I wish she were, but she's not, but I remember those wise words that any mother shares with her children, and I know exactly what she would say to me. She says, "It looks like you've got about two choices, Janice, and you better figure out what's important and spend less on what isn't. And if that doesn't work out, then you better find some more money." It's kind of a simple math lesson that we all learn at a young age. And every day, the general fund is borrowing every dollar of uncommitted state cash to the tune of about $1.5 billion. And the current year deficit is expected to be $1.7 billion short, with $480 million left over as a carry forward from fiscal year 2009. We have a structural deficit because, quite simply, my friends, our revenues and expenditures are out of alignment to such an extent that it will produce a $3.2 billion deficit in fiscal year 2011. And that's the budget that my administration now is currently working on to present in January. So, how did we get in this mess? Before the recession hit, the state took on major expenditure programs without any adjustments for any revenue. For example, property tax reform shifted 11% of the cost of K-12 to the general fund. Courts forced responsibility for building and maintaining school facilities. A voter initiative expanded the access program. And when the recession hit, there were major increases in the access population. In just the last 12 months in the state of Arizona, Access, our Medicaid program, has added 208,000 members at an annual cost of $329 million. Overall, the state tax revenues have declined 32%. Spending going up, revenues going down rapidly. Meanwhile, there were other issues adding to our problems, including constraints imposed by us, the voters, such as Proposition 108 and Proposition 105. Before the state could accept recovery money, we had to agree to a maintenance of effort requirement through the end of fiscal year 2011 for education and through December 2010 for the Access program. The maintenance of effort for education prohibits reducing funding below the fiscal year 2006 funding the state provided to education in that year, and the maintenance of effort for the Access program provides that as long as we accept ARA money for the program, we cannot reduce eligibility. Maintenance of effort limits the state's options to correct the deficit. The fiscal year 2011 general fund monies are to replace over $1 billion of the ARA funds. We knew, and I have said repeatedly, that we are headed for big trouble, and it has arrived on our doorstep. And budget cuts, we've made them big time. We've made the largest, most aggressive cuts in the state's history. Budget reductions total 29% of unprotected funds. As part of these reductions, we have reduced the state workforce by 10% since January 2008. So, the overall solution is a balanced approach, precisely the one that we are all taking. Cuts, adding revenue, and for the long-term growth, providing incentives for creation of jobs. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of information to assimilate. The simple fact is that we are going to have to be courageous. We're going to have to do what's right for the state of Arizona. And I believe that collectively, if we all come together, get our arms around the problem, we can and we will turn this state around.